Hi, Mike Gallagher here with My Tech Computer Solutions with another short video. I've done a couple of presentations and seminars, and a number of questions have come up around email encryption. So those of you out there with HIPAA compliance and other federal regulations, you're being told by the federal government and state government that in order to send information securely over the internet, you have to have encrypted email. So email itself, when it was first started years ago with the early forms of the internet, was not meant to be secure. Email itself and the email protocol is not a secure protocol. It's very convenient, however. So over time, people were trying to send all kinds of attachments over email. Spreadsheets, here's the latest this and that, and they attach it to an email. That's okay if it's not sensitive. But according to the law, if it contains PHI or personal health information or any other information that can be tied to the individual, like Social Security numbers, Medicare numbers, banking numbers, you want to make sure that that's secure. Now, sending secure email is a bit inconvenient. What it requires is encryption. And in order to encrypt, you have to run it through an algorithm and use mathematics. So I'm going to do a brief explanation of encryption and how it works, and then tell you a few things that you can do. So you have an email here, and you want to send it encrypted. So what you do is you would run it through an algorithm, which is a mathematical formula or program, and you would use a key. Now that key is a passphrase that you only know. It could be a password or typically a passphrase. And the stronger you make it, the better and more secure it is. So by running it through this algorithm, what happens is this algorithm then turns your email and the information in your email into an unintelligible blob of stuff. And if you ever opened one up, it's just a bunch of random characters. You really can't read it. It's not something that you can read. So now you've encrypted it. Great. You need to send that on to a mail or web server, and on the other end, the recipient that you have has to have that key to decrypt it. If they don't have the key, they won't be able to, and they won't be able to read it. So what types of encryption are out there? Let's take a look. There's essentially two types that you need to worry about. One involves just one key, and that's called end-to-end encryption. And typically the way this works, it's the most simple, it's the fastest. You would encrypt your email, and you would call the other person and whoever's going to be receiving it and say, here's the passphrase, you're going to be getting an email, here's the passphrase to decrypt it. If you sent the passphrase over email, and then sent the encrypted email, that's really not secure, because if anyone's like getting your email or looking at your email, they're going to have the encryption key and everything that they need. So you need to have a separate way to get that key to that person. The other way of encryption is using two keys, and that's called a private and public key. So what happens is you would have, here's you, and you would have your private key, and then your private key generates a bunch of public keys, and you send those keys out to anybody that you want, and they have them stored on their computer. Now, if you want to read something from them, they have a private key, and they send you the public key. This is a little bit more sophisticated, takes a little bit more time, but it's used quite a bit out there. So the public key only encrypts, and the private key will only decrypt. That essentially is email encryption. It is inconvenient, but it is the law. So one of the things that spurred a lot of this on, and one thing that you need to think about, is the ECPA. This was the Electronic Communications Privacy Act. This was passed in the 80s, and it's basically for government and law enforcement. It's a law that states if your email is sitting on a server for more than 180 days, it is no longer considered private. You have no expectation of privacy. So if your email from a year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago is sitting in Yahoo Mail, Gmail, or any other web mail or POP3 mail, and it's not encrypted, the government and any law enforcement agency can just send a request to the service provider and have access to any email that you have sitting on your server that is older than 180 days. So in this era of privacy and everything, encrypting your email is probably a good idea. So if I haven't confused you already, which hopefully I haven't, what do? There are a couple of solutions out there for encrypted email. There's a number of companies that do put encrypted email out in email services. They could get quite pricey and expensive, and will encrypt email on the fly. No matter what, though, the person on the other end is going to have your key. Somehow you're going to have to get the decryption key to whoever is going to be getting your encrypted email. There's no other way to open it. So if you're sending emails out to the state government or federal government or to anybody else, you probably want to use a simple service. And the thing is, if you're doing that and it's only once a month or twice a month or maybe once a quarter, use something called Send It Better. It's a free service that we have. You can find it on our website. And what you do essentially is you would create a little account, you would upload the document, and then an email is sent to your recipient. You would call the recipient and say, you're going to be receiving an email from us, here's the passcode. When that person sees that email come in, they'll click on a link, they'll use the passcode to download the document, and you get an email that they actually got the document. Heck, it's a free service, why not use it? If you're sending more than 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 emails a month, then there are automatic email encryption services that you can use and pay for. But a simple way to do it is just use something like Send It Better. So I hope this answered some questions on email and email encryption. And if you have any comments or questions, please post them below. Thank you very much.